Gerard, thanks for joining us today. Before we get to the questions, could you give us a little of your background prior to joining Fiscal?
Sure. I've been with Fiscal since this past April. I have been in the IT industry for about 20 years. Before coming to Fiscal, I was the Information Security Officer at the California Prison Industry Authority, CalPIA. Prior to CalPIA, I was at Hewlett Packard Enterprise for about 19 years. I have both a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science from the University of Hawaii and a Master of Science in Business Administration from Sacramento State. I also have numerous security industry certifications such as a IC squared, Certified Information Systems Security Professional, CISSP, ISACA Certified Information Security Manager, CISM, and then ISACA Certified Information Systems Auditor, CISA. I have a bunch more, but it's too much.
Those are a lot of good acronyms there.
Yeah. And you know what, to top it off too, like one of the rarities that I have is that like a lot of security professionals, they only do one thing or the other. I actually know how to hack also. So I actually have hacked into things. One of the coolest things I've ever hacked to is the door card readers. So, you know, the things that you swipe your badges on,
Yeah,
I've
right.
actually hacked into that. So, you know, I was Lord of the Locks for 2 days, you know, before I came there and said, hey, you guys got to fix this. So,
There you go. Well, I imagine being able to hack helps you with your job tremendously.
yes, it does. It gives me a different way of seeing things. I look at things as, you know, risk. You know, like is it possible? How hard is it to hack these things? You know, like certain things, we have this scale where we go critical, high, medium, lows. You know, that's how we classify our vulnerabilities. And a lot of people just go with those vulnerabilities, you know, those rankings. But people like me, we actually take a look at it a bit closer to see, you know, to understand how hard really is it to exploit this thing. It might be a critical, but all criticals are not the same. Some criticals are a lot harder than the others. And some criticals actually have what they call exploit code. That means, you know, hackers that are much better than I am have already made code so that it's easier for the rest of our people, you know, rest of the hacker community to, you know, pen test these things.
Wow, it's a lot to deal with. So tell me, what do you worry about the most for instance, with the fiscal system? I know that there's a lot of data there, and obviously you guys are fighting constantly to protect it and to protect the departments and all the information. What do you worry about most?
I worry the most about a breach that impacts the integrity of Fiscal's information. Considering the ever evolving nature of the threat landscape, it is not possible to eliminate all sources of risk to Fiscal's information. My role is to advise management to implement controls that can assist in managing the risk. As Fiscal changes, we have to evaluate how much risk is appropriate for our business, right? Our goal is to create a program that balances our risk and our business goals.
Yeah, it sounds like, again, as I said earlier, such a complicated mission. Uh, and without revealing too much, what's the key to preventing that from happening, a breach?
I would have to say eternal vigilance, continually evaluating and testing that we have the right controls in place to either remediate or mitigate risk to Fiscal's information. But security can't do everything, and security can't be everywhere. We need your help. Phishing is the top action taken by attackers in most breaches. Training staff to recognize attacks is the most effective method to mitigating phishing. Help us out. Take and complete the annual security training.
Well, I know I've done that, and it always seems to me that when I'm taking that, it just seems like total common sense. But obviously, there can be a lapse in common sense or just not paying attention. And I believe you told me when we spoke earlier that phishing is the start of can be the start of some tremendous damage.
Right, and I'm going to tell you right now, phishing is not really. It's more like a social engineering attack when you think about it, because you know one of my friends. This guy's a mentor to me. He actually has a psychology degree, and he's a really great hacker. He's basically told me that when you send a phishing email out, it has to basically, within 10 seconds, override all reasoning for somebody to click. If it goes beyond 10 seconds, they're probably not going to click. But that's, that's one of those things that hackers know, is that make the phishing look really good. And once you do that, you're in. You're beyond the firewall defenses that everybody has around their network. These people are clicking on it and they're inviting you, hey, come into my network. So that's one of the things that that when we look at phishing.
Yeah, I received just recently on my personal email at home an email that looked completely legitimate. I won't name the company, but it looked completely legitimate. And then I really took some time past that 10-second mark, obviously, and was reading it. And it was just so obvious that it was not from the company. And obviously, I just deleted it. But it's, and again, and like I say, with the training that we have to take at Fiscal, it's really interesting all the different ways you can be manipulated.
Exactly. When you look at a lot of the breaches that have occurred out there, a lot of it does have a social engineering component to them. When you take a look at what time of the year these guys are going to be most active, this is the time of the year when they will be active. Uh, you think about it, it's like, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, all the way up to Valentine's. You think about it, right? These are the times when you will expect emails from various sources, right? You might not do business with these companies often, but then the thing is, at this time of the year, you're once or twice part of the year when you do business with some other person or some other company is when you get these strange emails, right? So for me, this is just my personal opinion, right? That from Thanksgiving all the way till about thanks till about Valentine's is, it's the most wonderful time of the year for hackers, because a lot of people will click on their stuff.
Yeah, well, people are looking for deals and everybody's buying, and you're right. It just seems like a ripe time. It's interesting that there is a time of the year when they might be most active. So, talking about that, what I know, and I know that you can't give away your secrets, but what is it that you guys and your team are doing to keep Fiscal safe as possible?
Like I said, the phishing training is, that security training that we give yearly is one of those things that we do. Behind the scenes, we do some of the due diligence stuff that every shop does. You have firewalls around your stuff, right? Screen things coming in and out of your area of control. Those are like just those are just at least the things that I can reveal that everybody else does.
So again, just keep your eye out for the phony emails, the phishing emails, and use common sense. Um, what about? I guess what I'm getting at is I assume obviously that applies to people that are using the Fiscal system as well, to just be on the lookout for anything that it looks wrong.
Right. And just so you know, when you look at breaches, 70% of it come from externals, from external sources. The other third come from internal hackers, right? Um, so there's some literature out there from certain vendors that say that the most devastating breaches are the ones that originate from the inside, from the insider threat, right? So I think everybody should be cognizant of, no matter if you're one of our customers or if you're one of our staff, that hackers are everywhere and everything can be used.
Well, I appreciate you joining us today. I guess the rule of thumb is to, as you say, be vigilant and use common sense and keep your eyes open for anything that looks like it's too good to be true.
Exactly. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. And if it's free, nothing in this world is free. Somebody has to pay for it somewhere.
Right. And the last thing you want is for your organization to be paying for it down the line, correct?
Exactly. So some of the coolest things you can think about is in Europe, they have something called GDPR, right? When you talk about somebody paying for this thing, GDPR basically levies fines against you, against your revenue, not your profit, your revenue, if you mishandle data. I think British Airways got something in the millions for allowing a hack.
Wow.
Yep.
Well,
So, yep.
yeah, I mean, it's just part of the new wild, wild west that we're living in, I guess, too, right?
Yes, it is. And there's, there really, this truly is the digital wild, wild west when, nation states can just cross into your borders, grab stuff and leave with impunity.
Well, again, appreciate you joining us today, and great information. And I know you and your team are going to do your best to keep those hackers out of the Fiscal system. And once again, thanks so much for joining us on Fiscal TV.
And thanks for having me.